Hey, just a quick moment before we start. First off, thank you so much for all the love and support so far. Seriously, it means the world to us. We're just a tiny team of 3 people making these videos every day. And yeah, it takes a lot of time and energy. At the pace we're growing, there's a real chance we won't be able to keep this going long term, unless things pick up. And since we haven't hit 1,000 subscribers yet, we don't make a cent from ads. YouTube doesn't even let us turn them off, or avoid the ones halfway. So if you enjoy our stories and you want to help us stick around, the best thing you can do is super simple. Like the video, leave a quick comment, or share it with someone who might enjoy it too. It makes a huge difference in helping YouTube show it to more people like you. Thanks again. Now let's get into the story. Welcome to Deep Sleep Stories, where you're invited to settle in and gently drift toward a realm of deep rest. As you allow your eyes to grow heavy, imagine you've stepped onto soft, welcoming ground that feels like a quiet sanctuary for your mind. Tonight, you'll be guided through a mystical journey to Cappadocia, Turkey, a place of wondrous rock formations and ancient secrets. Breathe slowly and feel the weight of the day dissolve from your shoulders. Let every exhalation carry away tension, making space for serenity to flow in. Notice how your chest rises and falls with a gentle rhythm. With each breath, you sink further into a comforting stillness. Listen to your heartbeat, calmly reminding you that this moment is entirely yours. Your mind can float free of concerns now, drawn toward the softly glowing horizon of imagination. In this safe space, all you need to do is rest and explore the magic waiting just beyond. One evening, a gentle traveler named Ella wandered through Cappadocia's labyrinth of valleys and sun-kissed rock spires. The region was famed for its peculiar fairy chimneys, slender formations rising from the earth like graceful silhouettes frozen in time. These formations seemed to whisper ancient stories whenever the wind curled around their curves. Dusk had settled across the land, bathing the horizon in a palette of warm ambers and deep purples as a few distant stars blinked awake in the sky. Ela strolled carefully along a sandy path, her footsteps making the softest imprint on the silty ground. The air felt cool against her cheeks, and each gentle breeze carried a faint scent of sage and wild lavender. Gazing up, she noticed how the rocky towers were lit by the last traces of daylight. In those final amber rays, the spires seemed almost alive, as though they were guardians standing watch over an ancient realm. Curious about the legends surrounding Cappadocia, Ela had heard whispers of mysterious lights that sometimes appeared at twilight, small, dancing orbs that flickered like ghostly candles. Locals called them goblin lights, hinting at something whimsical yet reverent, an otherworldly phenomenon that appeared out of nowhere and vanished just as quietly. Intrigued, she ventured deeper into the valley in search of a peaceful spot to watch the evening sky, her heart light with anticipation for what wonders the night might reveal. A quiet hush enveloped the valley floor, as though nature itself recognized the coming of something magical. Crickets began their nightly chorus, a gentle, rhythmic backdrop. The sky darkened to a velvety black, with stars winking into existence one by one, forming swirling trails of cosmic shimmer. The air felt even cooler now, but it was soothing, like a soft blanket draped over the wide open land. Ella took her time, strolling from one rock formation to the next. She paused to run her fingertips along the weathered stone, feeling its cool, porous texture. She admired how centuries of wind and water had shaped the pillars into fantastical silhouettes. some tall and slender, like elegant dancers, others rounder, reminiscent of squat towers from fairy tales. With every step, she listened to the soft crunch of gravel beneath her sandals, noticing the gradual slowing of her own heartbeat. There was nothing hurried in this moment. The valley's atmosphere invited slow movements and lingering gazes. A gentle moon rose above the plateau, illuminating the terrain with a silver glow. The spires and fairy chimneys now cast elongated shadows across the ground, their angles shifting gently as faint clouds passed overhead. An owl hooted in the distance, echoing against the rock walls. The entire world seemed enveloped in a calm hush. This hush carried the promise of something extraordinary to come, a moment of discovery that could only occur when one's mind was still and fully present. For a while, Ela simply sat upon a smooth, low boulder, resting her hands on her lap, looking out at the horizon. The night air kissed her cheeks, cool yet comforting. Every slow inhale brought crisp, lightly perfumed air into her lungs, and every exhale let a bit more tension slip away. She felt her shoulders sink, her limbs grow heavy, and her thoughts drift in a dreamy reverie. In this state of peaceful openness, even the slightest movement of a small creature or flicker of light was bound to draw her attention gently, without alarm. As her eyelids grew heavier, Ela saw a faint spark beyond one of the rock spires. At first, she wondered if it was just the play of moonlight against the stone, but then it moved, floating upward, hovering for an instant, and drifting silently to the side. Another spark joined it, followed by another, until a trio of tiny, luminescent spheres danced in the night air. They glimmered, as though lit from within by a secret glow. Spellbound, Ela rose from her seat, heart fluttering in quiet awe. The lights were not bright or glaring. Instead, they were soft and ethereal, like drifting lanterns guided by an unseen hand. She stepped closer, careful not to disturb the stones or the sleeping creatures of the valley. She felt as though she were witnessing a gentle ballet, performed by the land's own mystical spirits. Slowly, the orbs drifted further into the labyrinth of chimneys and spires. Their movements were mesmerizingly graceful, at times floating higher, then swooping down behind a rocky pillar, as if inviting Ela to follow. She found herself navigating winding passages and narrow trails, all illuminated by faint moonbeams and the subtle glow of these ghostly lights. Above her, the dense canopy of stars shimmered, and below, her feet pressed gently into the cool, sandy earth. The entire atmosphere felt like a dream unfurling in slow motion. After a while, the goblin lights guided Ela to a secluded hollow nestled between towering formations. Here, the wind was hushed, shielded by tall, curved walls of stone. She sensed a soothing energy in this hidden alcove. The orbs glided gracefully, eventually merging into a single sphere before vanishing, leaving behind a subtle shimmer in the air. Their disappearance felt neither abrupt nor frightening. Instead, it was as though they had delicately passed the torch of wonder back to the silent mystery of the night. Ela settled onto the ground, crossing her legs, and placed her palms gently on her knees. This hollow seemed the perfect spot to rest, lulled by the distant hum of night insects. She breathed deeply, noticing how each breath felt richer, as though drawing in the essence of the ancient land around her. The air smelled faintly of cool stone and a distant hint of juniper. A sense of tranquility spread through her limbs, and she let her mind wander, imagining the countless travelers through time who might have experienced similar moments of wonder in this very valley. In that peaceful stillness, Ela recalled a story she had heard from a local elder. He spoke of early settlers who believed that Cappadocia was touched by invisible guardians, spirits of the wind and stone that dwelled between the towering pillars. These guardians occasionally revealed themselves in the form of little dancing lights. Rather than goblins in the traditional sense, they were said to be gentle keepers of the land, watchful and playful in equal measure. The elder's voice echoed in her memory. They appear when the night is calm, when open hearts wander with reverence. Listening to her own breath, Ela began to feel a peaceful drowsiness. The land's history and mystery seemed to enfold her, and her eyelids felt heavier with each passing moment. She allowed her eyes to close, and as she did, her sense of hearing grew sharper. She caught the subtle rustle of a small breeze passing through a crack in the rocks, the gentle scratch of pebbles shifting beneath some nocturnal creature's steps, the rhythmic lull of crickets weaving a tapestry of sound that was calming and meditative. She felt safe, protected by these ancient formations and the soft hush that enveloped the valley. As hours passed in dreamy contentment, the sky began its slow transformation. A hint of silver light edged the horizon, signaling the approach of dawn. The hush of night gradually yielded to the gentle stirrings of early morning. Tiny birds, perched in hidden nooks, greeted the new day with timid chirps. The possibility of hot air balloons, one of Cappadocia's famous sights, now teased at the edges of Ela's awareness. Those colourful globes often rose at first light, drifting silently over the valleys and chimneys like floating jewels. Rousing herself gently, Ela stretched her arms and stood, ready to follow the whisper of the approaching dawn. She made her way out of the hollow, feeling a lingering sense of gratitude for the hidden nook that had sheltered her. Once outside, she lifted her eyes toward the horizon. Indeed, pastel shades of pink and pale gold decorated the sky, and soft clouds glowed with the promise of sunrise. As she walked, she inhaled deeply, filling her lungs with the crisp, early morning air. Her wanderings led her to another viewpoint, an open plateau where the land seemed to stretch into infinity. From here, she could see clusters of hot air balloons stirring in the distance, ground crews busying themselves with final preparations. Without hurry, Ela found a comfortable rock to sit upon, positioning herself so that she could witness the gentle spectacle unfolding in the sky. A soft hiss of burners carried across the stillness, followed by the sight of vibrant fabrics inflating and taking shape against the dawn. One by one, the balloons rose, their curved silhouettes bright against the pale sky. They drifted with unhurried grace above the chimneys, drifting as if carried by a tender, invisible hand. From her vantage point, Ella could just imagine the expressions of awe on each passenger's face as they glided above the storied land, capturing glimpses of hidden valleys and ancient dwellings carved into rock walls. Still entranced by the memory of the goblin lights, Ela let her thoughts meander. She wondered if the lights might be visible for the balloon riders up above, swirling gently among the formations. Perhaps in the morning light, their glow would be too subtle to see. Or maybe, just maybe, they existed in a realm beyond the constraints of time, appearing only in that mystical hush of the night, never to be caught by day. The warm rays of the rising sun gently caressed Ayla's face, ushering in a welcome wave of heat that banished the night's lingering chill. The rocks around her shifted in hue, from cool greys and blues to soft pinks and creamy beiges. The land awakened with delicate life. A few slender flowers opened their petals to the light, and small lizards emerged onto stones to warm themselves. Meanwhile, the balloons gracefully floated past, their silhouettes reflecting on the stone walls like pastel illusions. As the day unfurled, Ela left the plateau and found her way to a narrow valley bursting with wild herbs and scattered bushes. A small trickle of water ran through, shimmering in the morning sun. Now fully awake, she smiled at how the once moonlit place of stillness had come alive with subtle colour and gentle movement. The hush of the night was replaced with a faint hum of day, but it was a peaceful hum, not a clamour. Further along the trail, Ela met a serene woman named Alara, a local who tended a small herb garden near a rock-carved dwelling. Alara welcomed Ela with a cup of warm sage tea. The tea carried a fragrance as calming as the valley breezes. Sipping it slowly, Ela felt renewed, yet the memory of the goblin lights remained vivid in her mind. She asked Alara if she had ever seen them, and Alara nodded with a quiet smile. "They come from time to time," she explained, "when the night air is clear and hearts are open." The soft conversation meandered in the gentle sunlight. Alara shared the traditions of her family, how they passed down knowledge of local herbs and remedies across generations, each tip and trick woven with the wisdom of the land. She spoke of the region's long history, from ancient cave dwellers who carved shelters into the soft volcanic rock, to the countless travelers who arrived in search of peace and refuge. Occasionally, Alara's hands moved among the leafy herbs, plucking a few sprigs of thyme or oregano, bundling them into neat little ties. She moved with the same unhurried grace that the goblin lights had shown in the night, as though guided by a timeless, patient rhythm. Eventually, the day's warmth invited Ela to find a spot of shade. Bidding Alara a grateful farewell, she carried on along a path that wound through clusters of rock-cut houses and small vineyards. By noon, the sun was high, and the rocky pillars gleamed in white and tan hues. The land stood silent under the midday light. Its shadows shortened, and its gentle breezes paused. In that stillness, Ela found a place under a lone apricot tree, its branches offering dappled shade. She sat there, back against the trunk, listening to the distant drone of bees and the faint scuttle of a lizard across the stones. The hush of afternoon was different from the hush of the night, yet it had its own calming presence. It encouraged a slow, meditative state where the mind could wander freely across memories and hopes. Ela's eyelids drifted closed again as she recalled the dancing orbs. She wondered about their origin, whether they were earthly gases, bioluminescent insects, or truly ephemeral spirits. But in that tranquil moment, the explanation hardly mattered. The feeling of wonder, of quiet reverence, was what truly lingered. When the sun began to slope toward the west, the valley stirred once more. Small breezes picked up, and shadows grew long once again. Ela stood, stretching her arms overhead, and continued along a path that gradually rose above the valley floor. The ascent was gentle, lined with occasional steps carved into the rock centuries ago. As she climbed, she gazed out across a panorama of Cappadocia's famous formations. Tall conical spires, mushroom-shaped pillars, and winding ravines that glowed in soft pastel light as the sun dipped lower. Reaching a viewpoint at the top, she was greeted by a vast vista of meandering rock valleys below. The sky now painted itself in the warm oranges and pinks of late afternoon. Overlooking this tapestry of stone and sky, Ela felt a quiet gratitude fill her heart. She breathed in the crisp air, sensing the subtle shift toward evening. Perhaps, she thought, the goblin lights would appear again under the next blanket of stars. Eager to see what the twilight would bring, Ella decided to remain at that elevated perch as dusk descended. She took her time preparing a simple meal, some fresh bread, olives, and local cheese. The tangy flavors awakened her senses, grounding her in the present moment. The sun dipped lower still, until only a golden crown of light remained above the horizon. The hush returned, that familiar hush that signaled the bridging between day and night. The land seemed to hold its breath, awaiting the unveiling of moonlight. Stars began to appear, subtle pinpoints at first, then swiftly multiplying until the sky was speckled with countless diamonds. A pale moon rose, larger than the previous night, casting silver beams over the valley. Ela watched as the chimneys and spires stood silent in this lunar glow, their curves and angles highlighted in soft contrasts of light and shadow. She felt the gentle weight of the nighttime hush settle around her again, a comforting blanket of stillness. Far below, a few scattered lanterns illuminated small settlements, glimmering like tiny sparks across the land. The calm evening breeze swept up the slope, carrying with it the scent of thyme and distant wood smoke. Ela inalou profundamente, desfrutando da mistura agradável de fragrâncias. She felt lulled by the serene lullaby of the land, free of all urgency. Then, just as she had hoped, a faint glimmer appeared among the rock formations in the valley below. One orb became two, then three, dancing lightly just above the ground. Their movements were sinuous, weaving slowly around the stone pillars, at times fluttering upward, as though teasing the moonlight with their presence. Even from her vantage point, Ela could see their delicate pulsing, reminiscent of a quiet heartbeat. She watched, transfixed, as a sense of gentle awe filled her chest. These lights, so graceful and unhurried, felt like the embodiment of Cappadocia's ancient mystery. She stood there for a long time, unmoving, simply witnessing the display. The orbs seemed to wander at their own pace. Now and again, one vanished behind a spire, only to reappear on the other side, beckoning softly. Their glow had an ethereal quality, neither too bright nor too dim, as if revealing just enough to spark the imagination without overwhelming it. And all the while, the valley stayed hushed, with only the subtlest whisper of wind moving through the canyons. At length, the orbs drifted away, dissolving into the deeper recesses of the valley. Ela was left with a tranquil sense of gratitude and wonder. The hush of the night endured, heavier now, as though time itself slowed to a gentle pulse. She settled down on a smooth rock, letting her eyes rest on the moonlit panorama, letting thoughts come and go like slow, drifting clouds. With each breath, she felt calmness infuse her, flowing from the tips of her toes to the top of her head. In that profound silence, a gentle drowsiness embraced her. The day's journey and the evening's marvels coalesced into a soothing lullaby. She leaned back, propped slightly by a flat stone, and let her eyelids grow heavy. She didn't worry about where she might sleep. The comforting presence of the ancient land made her feel secure, as though the very stones would cradle her in rest if she let them. The wind rustled a few strands of her hair, and she smiled softly, imagining the goblin lights in their hidden realm, continuing their slow dance beyond her sight. She felt the lull of nature's nighttime chorus around her. The subtle hush was punctuated by the steady pulse of her own heartbeat, steady as a drum. Each breath in carried the cool night air. Each breath out released any lingering tension. The boundary between the physical world and her realm of dreams felt thin, almost non-existent. Gradually, she allowed herself to lie down, eyes drifting shut. In the darkness behind her eyelids, she envisioned the orbs swirling gently, leading her further into a realm of deep relaxation. She sensed the softness of the ground beneath her, the protective embrace of the rocky spires around her, the hush that flowed through every grain of sand. It was a hush that reassured her that all was well, that sleep was not only safe, but inevitable and nurturing. As her body relaxed, her mind followed, the day's memories and impressions melding into a soothing tapestry. She could still faintly perceive the moon above, shining like a gentle guardian. In the distance, an owl hooted once more, a final lullaby. Her breathing slowed, her heartbeat mellowed, and the hush of Cappadocia enveloped her like a soft blanket. Now, dear listener, as the traveller finds rest beneath the vast night sky, let your own thoughts become soft echoes. Feel the glow of those goblin lights flicker gently in your mind, guiding you toward a place of stillness. There is no need to follow the storyline or analyze the details anymore. Let your breathing be slow and comfortable. Imagine a gentle warmth spreading from your head to your toes, a wave of quiet relief that soothes every muscle and calms every breath. You are safe in this calm space. The hush of night wraps around you with a quiet lullaby, encouraging every part of you to release and unwind. Notice how your shoulders feel lighter, your jaw unclenches, and your eyelids grow heavier. Let the images of Cappadocia's moonlit spires drift softly through your mind, like clouds sliding across the night sky. Each slow inhale is an invitation to let in more tranquility. Each exhale sends away any lingering restlessness. All around you, in the delicate silence, is the promise of restful sleep. Let that promise envelop you, carrying you gently into a soft and nurturing darkness. Here, you can recharge, dream, and journey inward with the assurance that peace is yours. Feel the last wakeful thoughts dissolve, replaced by a soothing sense of weightlessness, as though you are gently floating upon a calm sea of stars. There is no hurry and no worry, only the slow, rhythmic lull of your own breath. In this peaceful domain, your mind can wander or drift into a dream without any need to hold on to waking concerns. The night is kind, and you are cherished within it. Let the hush lull you into deeper rest. Let sleep take over, soft and comforting, like a gentle whisper in your ear. You have journeyed far in these quiet moments, and now your only task is to surrender to slumber. Good night, dear traveller. May the goblin lights and the moonlit chimneys watch over you, guiding you gently into sweet, renewing dreams. Sleep well.